I recently bought the Lumix S9 and I already had the Lumix S5, so obviously I'm going to compare both the cameras and check how they stand against each other. So this is more of a first impressions video. I want to look at the autofocus performance and the low light performance of the Lumix S9. The lens that we would be using with these cameras is the Lumix 50mm f1.8 lens. A Lumix S9 is a trimmed down version of the Lumix S5 Mark II and Mark IIX. But Lumix S9 doesn't have the viewfinder, the mechanical shutter, weather sealing, and the hot shoe, and few record modes also, and there are other differences. So basically S5 Mark II and S5 Mark IIX would have the same picture quality and autofocus performance as the Lumix S9. And that's the first thing that we can see here. The autofocus is very good. It's performing very well. Even when I move around the frame, it would stick on to me. It would not do the pulsing and hunting that the Lumix S5 usually does, which is a big relief. While when it comes to Lumix S5, you just cannot rely on the autofocus. It'll hunt, it'll pulse, and you're not going to like the footage when you see it in the end. So for Lumix S5, it's manual focus only. Honestly, the autofocus was the only reason why I bought the Lumix S9, because when you look at the S5, it's highly unreliable when it comes to autofocus. It would hunt, it would pulse, it would just not stick to you. No matter what you do, even if you're standing at one place, it'll lose you and it'll do that pulsing and hunting thing, which looks so weird. And God forbid, if you go far away, it'll leave you. It'll stop looking for you because it knows that you like it. So of course, it's gonna let go of you. On the other hand, the Lumix S9 would act as that complete stranger who would stick with you in every situation. The autofocus is just so good. So I was kind of relieved to see such a nice autofocus performance from Lumix S9. Even during very fast movements, the autofocus of Lumix S9 tries to keep up with you. It tries, it's not perfect, but it is there. And when you move and even when you come close for a close-up, it keeps you in focus. There is that occasional pulsing or stuttering, but it does a good job. And S5 is like highly unpredictable. Sometimes it would do a good job, sometimes it would not, so it's not reliable, as I said. Here is a side-by-side comparison of the two. And in my personal opinion, I just like the video of the S5. It has that creamy bokeh, it has that non-sharp and smooth image somehow. And S9 looks digital. So let's do some more tests before coming to any conclusions. Then I performed this other test, this handheld test, where the subject was constantly moving, and even I was moving to see if there would be any pulsing or any kind of hunting that the S9 would do. There were none. There were like one or two instances, but they were not noticeable. They were not prominent as well. But when you look at the footage, you somehow feel the footage of S5, the video of S5 looks more creamy, that contrast, that color. The footage just has that creamy feel where it looks so cinematic, if I could use that word. Whereas on the S9, the footage looks so digital, it's over sharpened. The bokeh is not as creamy as it is on the S5. However, the image is bright and it's sharp. It's more sharper than it should have been, and you can adjust the picture profile, I know, but straight out of camera, this is how the image would look. And I think the good part is that you can grade the footage that you get from the S9 and make it look like the S5, but you cannot do that to the footage of S5 because it just doesn't have that information in the shadows. Image is already dark. If you will try to increase the exposure, then you will introduce noise and there would be artifacts. S9 wins when it comes to image quality and autofocus. I'm kind of happy on that side, but when it comes to build quality, it's a different story. When it comes to build quality and we compare it to the old S5, the Lumix S9 actually feels cheap. Everything from the buttons to the dials to the misaligned screen or even the 25mm kit lens that came with this camera, they all feel cheap. Just take a look at this battery door that also houses the memory card. It has no padding or sealant. How much would it cost to put one there? Here's the S5. Its door closes with a soft third because it has this internal padding or rubber sealant, which also provides weather sealing. So forget rain or even drizzle. Would Lumix S9 even stand high humidity conditions? Would moisture creep in and not only destroy the memory card inside but also the electronics? Or maybe the sensor could develop a mold or a fungus? Well, it may or may not happen, but honestly, Lumix, how much money did you save by not providing us these little things? And how many more of such stupid cost-cutting measures did you take? It makes the S5 Mark II look like a bargain in comparison. I'm doing this voiceover kind of late, and I did travel after buying this camera, and I took the Lumix S5 with me for the peace of mind. So S9 is probably going to stay as a B cam or an occasional cam or a camera that I could take when I'm not really worried about the external conditions or environment. So the conclusion is that if I was given a choice right now, I would spend extra money and buy the Lumix S5 Mark II instead. You know, S9 doesn't stand anywhere. That's it for this video. I hope you like it and have a good day. Stay blessed. Bye.